Well, Liberal MPs and potentially some outsiders will soon be lining up for the chance to lead the Liberal Party in the coming months.
It's a day of reflection, I know, for a lot of us. But in the end, it had to happen. Our chances of winning the next election have just gone up by about 1,000%.
Well, the Prime Minister's resignation sparked a wave of reaction from Liberal MPs, several of whom had called for his resignation months ago. So who might be gunning for the job and what will they be up against? Let's bring in Adam Vaughan, former Liberal MP and principal at Navigator. Good to speak with you, Adam.
Good morning.
Okay, let's talk about the contenders. We'll put them up for everybody, give them a chance to see who's in there. We have been hearing a lot about Mark Carney, who put out a statement saying he's talking to his family, he's thinking about it. Chrystia Freeland is there. Christy Clark, former BC Premier, is there. Melanie Joly is there. When you look at this list of people here, who do you think has the best shot at the job?
You know, it's a question a lot of Liberals who have been talking about Trudeau's departure long before yesterday have tried to game out. And the challenge is that the Constitution is very vague on this, in part because of rules that Justin Trudeau brought in after he became leader. We don't have a traditional membership structure to the party. And so anybody can sign up without even paying a nickel or a dime to be a member. And then our voting rules allow landed immigrants, for example, to participate in the political system, even though, normally it's only citizens who choose to run. To people to elect. So it's a little ambiguous, and as a result of that, when you try to sort of chart the favorites, it really comes down to when is the registration deadline going to be set and cut off? Are there going to be changes? Do you have to be a party donor? Do you have to, all these sorts of rules are going to favor one candidate over the other. It's a short period of time. Yeah. Big organization is required across a big country. A lot of money has to be raised. And as it stands right now, we know who the front runners are, but we won't know who the winner is until we figure out who and in what race they're actually going to be running in.
Well, you talk about a shortened timeline. We were just speaking with Vashi Kapelos about this timeline. It's around 11 weeks or less to pick a new leader. That person potentially becomes the Prime Minister for how many days or weeks, we don't know, until there's an election called. Numerous Liberal MPs have said, after this news yesterday, they want to see the party move more to the centre. So if the Liberals also axe the carbon tax, some MPs saying that includes changing things around carbon tax. If the Liberals axe the tax, how does that affect support for the Conservatives?
Well, the Conservatives, be careful what you ask for. I think they wanted to run against Trudeau, and for good reasons. The polls are the polls. But you've now got a government that's going to try and reset its agenda, reset its leadership, reset its position in the political sort of world. And so the question then becomes, were Canadians tired of Trudeau, or Canadians tired of the Liberals, or Canadians tired of their MP? Mm-hmm. And different people give you different responses to that. I think the biggest problem is that people had tuned Trudeau out, and certainly the key players around his cabinet had also been impacted. That's why I think Chrystia Freeland's going to have a very difficult time putting daylight between herself and the Prime Minister. They were literally joined at the hip in cabinet and caucus and politically for the last 10 years. So a newcomer is probably more likely to be able to sort of address that issue of trying to move more demonstrably to the center. But at the same time, the issues that are challenging Canadians, whether it's healthcare, whether it's the high cost of food, whether it's the housing crisis, in particular for first-time buyers, but also for the homeless, those sorts of issues don't get solved with tax cuts, and they don't get solved with eliminating government response. You don't suddenly simply say we're going to remove all the restrictions in the housing market and bingo, tomorrow you get a house. You've got to methodically and constructively invest and change those policies and those outcomes to have impact on Canadians. So Canadians are now going to be tested. Is the leadership they want to change it? Is it policy they want to change? And I think that when you talk to most Canadians, universal dental care and $10 a day child care and the national housing strategy to the degree that it's worked, the boost to OAS, the track record of Trudeau is not what's in dispute. He was the problem. And while he talked about it a little bit yesterday, I don't think he even then clearly sort of highlighted what was understood by most Canadians, which is he was the problem. So what we'll see now is whether the leadership campaigns can reframe the debate and capture the imagination of enough members of the public to drive change. And that's what's in front of us for the next 11 weeks.
Adam Vaughan, former Liberal MP and principal at Navigator. Great to speak with you this morning. Thanks for your perspective.
No worries.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.